YouTube. My name is Carly Fries, and today I'm going to be talking about all of my intimidating to be read books of 2017. So all those books that I hope to read this year and probably have been wanting to for quite some time, but something about each and every one of these books has just, kind of put that on hold for me, has stopped me from getting into them, and I'm going to talk about all of those books and why. The first on this list is the Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J. Maas. And I have read her other series, Throne of Glass, and I love it, and I've heard even better things about this series. There's only 2 books out so far, and I assume there's more coming. But the reason why I've been a little hesitant to read them is because I've heard such great things that I almost am afraid to read it and not like it as much as other people do. From what I've heard, it's about this girl named Fair who is abducted by this fae beast guy and taken back to his court, and she ends up falling in love with him, and there's this whole thing. I don't even really know what it's about. I've just heard good things, and I'm gonna be reading it probably within the next month or so that's why it's at the top of this list, because I'm assuming that it's gonna be the first one off of this list. Another series that I've put off reading for the exact same reasons as Court of Thorns and Roses is the A Torch Against the Night series by Sabaa Tahir, because, well, first of all, the covers of these books are gorgeous. Again, all of the booktubers that I follow on YouTube, they all talk about these books so highly, just like A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I'm just so afraid that it's not gonna live up to my expectations. This is one series that I've been just looking forward to reading, and I'm so afraid that it's just not gonna be as good. I'm pretty sure this is about a girl who joins the military, it's based in old Rome or something, and she joins the military because her brother has been taken as a prisoner, so she wants to infiltrate them and become a spy from the inside so that she can break them out, and she falls in love with another soldier who's kind of not into the whole military thing either. I don't know, but just these covers and from what I've heard and the praise and everything, I'm just afraid to read it and not like it, but I'm probably going to be reading this very soon, so I'll let you know what I end up thinking in a future video. So I've been hesitant to read the Game of Thrones series because have you seen the size of these books, the amount of these books, and the fact that it's a TV show? I've never seen any of the TV show, and so if I get into these books, I have to read them all and I have to watch the show. That's a huge fucking commitment, and nobody got time for that. So eventually I will read these books, maybe this year, maybe not. It's one of my goals to at least get to them by the end of this year, because I don't know how much longer the show is going to be going on for, but I would like to get into it before it's over, because that's a lot of what people talk about and I can't even join in on conversations. I was yeah, wolves and shit, and death, and boobs. And that's all I know. I've been wanting to read the Raven Cycle series by Maggie Stiefvater for quite some time, but I also read The Wolves of Mercy Falls by Maggie Stiefvater, and that is a very, very awful series. The Wolves of Mercy Falls is so bad that it's the kind of series that you keep reading and you're why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? Why am I reading this? But if you're me, I don't really like to just stop reading a series. Most of the time I will just keep with it until it's over, and that's how I felt with The Wolves of Mercy Falls. It was just so bad that I'm how can something bad and something great come from the same person, but at the same time that I'm Stephenie Meyer wrote Twilight, but she also wrote The Host, anything can happen. And the Raven Cycle actually sounds good, the premise of it. From what I've heard about it, it's this girl and her mom is clairvoyant, and every year they watch the soon-to-be dead walk past, but she can't actually see them until one year she does see a boy, and he's part of a group of boys called the Raven Boys from a prep school, and they're these no good kids, and she gets involved with them, but she's afraid that she's going to cause his death because she saw him and something like that. I don't know, it sounds really good, and I think I've heard good things about it, so but just because of The Wolves of Mercy Falls, I'm ugh. Speaking of Stephenie Meyer, this. Of Life and Death, Twilight Reimagined, which is the 10-year anniversary book, and it's about, I think it's just the Twilight story, but like the genders are reversed or something stupid like that. And I don't want to read it because why the fuck would I want to read Twilight again? Just like slightly different. I mean, this is one series, a lot of series, like I go back and read them more than once. I don't think I've ever went back and reread Twilight because it's not good. And like I said before, The Host, another book that Stephenie Meyer also wrote, it was really good, and it's like, you're gonna rewrite basically Twilight with slight differences, but you're not gonna give me a fucking The Host sequel? Stephenie Meyer needs to get her priorities straight. I don't know how many of you were into the Shannara Chronicles series when it debuted on TV, but I was. I really liked the actors and actresses that were in the show. The concept is really good. It's about a group of elves, and they find out that this like giant monster thing is going to try and destroy them and destroy the world and stuff. So the like princess elf is helped by like a group of friends to like try and stop things because she's like the chosen one. And the show is really good, but I've heard that the books aren't. And it's like, usually I like to read books before I watch the movies or TV shows and then get into them, and because I started with the show, I'm like, do I even want to go back and like read the books? But like they look good, and it's more books to read. Like I'd be interested in them. At the same time, part of me is like, why would I go back and read books that I've heard are not good and I've already seen the show when I could be reading books, you know, that are good and that I haven't read before. I have no idea about them. So like, I might read them, I might not. I haven't decided yet. Yeah. The same goes for the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, because the things I've heard about that TV show and those books are so high. Like, everyone is talking about them, everyone says how good they are, that I'm okay, I gotta get these books, man. I gotta like get into that TV show. But like, I keep putting it off because I hear that it's good, and I'm like, okay, like let's build the anticipation and stuff. So I mean, I am gonna make it a goal for me to read those books this year because I want to get into the TV show. I've heard nothing but good things about it. So yeah, you'll probably see me reading Outlander in the very near future. Finally, the last series of books that I'm like hesitant about getting into is the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan, mostly because there are just so many books in that series, and it's spin-off series and another spin-off series and like other books by that author. And the way I am is, if I read one series, then I'm gonna have to keep reading all of the other books in that series and its spin-offs, and even just books that that author has written. So if I read the Percy Jackson books, I'm gonna have to read the Heroes of Olympus series. I'm gonna have to read the Trials of Apollo series. I'm gonna have to read Magnus Chase and whatever the fuck this thing is about. Luckily, my boyfriend does have most of the books by Rick Riordan, so it's not like difficult for me to read them. It's just so much commitment that I'd have to put into reading anything by Rick Riordan. So I'm like, I'm gonna find a time eventually, like a big, like space of time to like read it all in one like shot, but that moment is not now. It might be this year, who knows, but yeah. So I think that's it, or at least all the books that I can think of off the top of my head. I can't say off the top of my head properly. What's wrong with me? So I think that's actually it, or at least all the books that I can think of off the top of my head that I've been kind of putting off reading. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what books you've been putting off reading, if there are any, and which books I should read, even though the last thing I should be doing is adding more books to my to-be-read list. And please subscribe to my channel if you want more book-related videos, especially especially since every month I'm going to be making videos about the books that I've read during that month. So if you want to hear my opinions on any of these books that I just talked about, when I do end up reading them, then please stick around because I will be talking about some of these in the future if I do get around to reading any of them in 2017. I mean, I hope that I read some of them because that would just be sad if all these books I talk about, I literally like, it's 2018 and I'm just like, it's gonna talk about the same books again, you know? But I'm sure that I'll read at least half of these, so yeah, stick around if you want to hear what I have to say about those. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!